You are reading this because something in you is tired, so profoundly tired of the noise and yet terrified of the silence. Because the silence is where you finally have to hear the truth you've been running from. The truth that whispers you are not who you were supposed to be. That your life is not what you dreamed it would become. And you carry this truth like a hidden fracture in your soul, smiling through it, functioning through it, while inside you feel a quiet, desperate crumbling. You have mastered the art of seeming okay, of saying, "I'm blessed." When you feel barren, of posting light, when you live in a private shadow, and the loneliness of that performance is a specific kind of hell because no one is applauding, and you are so weary of the stage. I need you to understand something that will change everything in this very moment. That exact feeling, that precise ache of hollow performance, was not a sign of your failure, but a sacred signal. It was the beginning of a divine disruption, a gentle tearing of a veil you didn't even know was covering your eyes. And the reason you feel so raw right now, so strangely open and vulnerable, is because something holy is pressing in against that tear. And it is not coming to lecture you, but to finally recognize you. The you behind the performance. The you that weeps in the car after work. The you that stares at the ceiling at 3 a.m. wondering if this is all there is. The you that aches with a longing for a purpose that feels epic and a peace that feels simple both at once. That you is seen right now with a clarity that would make you blush, with a tenderness that would make you sob. And this seeing is not passive, it is an active, fierce remembering of who you were before the world told you who to be. Can you feel it? A subtle shift in the atmosphere around you, a slight change in the pressure of the air, as if the universe itself has drawn a breath and is holding it, waiting for you to realize this message is not random. This moment is not accidental. You were guided here by a series of whispers and nudges you likely explained away as coincidence because you've been taught to distrust magic. This is the magic of divine timing, orchestrated across years of wrong turns and closed doors and heartbreaks that felt like punishments but were actually redirections, steering you here to this sentence. In this exact span of your life, when the ground beneath you feels both unstable and strangely fertile, the numbness you've been fighting, that emotional fog where you can't quite feel joy or sorrow, just a flat, gray static, that was not a symptom of depression, my friend. It was a spiritual anesthetic. You were being prepared for a surgery of the soul so delicate, so profound, that you needed to be shielded from the full force of the pain until the healer was ready to operate. And that time is now. The numbness is lifting at the edges because the procedure has already begun. You didn't feel the first incision because it was made with the scalpel of mercy, but you are now in the middle of a holy unraveling where every thread of false identity, every suture of old wounds that healed wrong, is being gently, expertly pulled loose. And I know you're afraid, because unraveling sounds like coming undone, like loss, like you'll be left with less than you started with, holding a pile of tangled threads that used to be a life. But what if I told you that you were woven with the wrong pattern from the beginning? What if the anxiety that clenches your stomach when you think about the future is not a warning, but a birth pang? What if the person you've been trying so hard to fix is not broken, but a prototype, a temporary vessel built for training wheels in shallow waters, never meant to carry you across the deep ocean of destiny that is now calling your name? That old self is not dying of neglect. It is being deliberately, compassionately dismantled to make room. And the new self, the true self, is not a future event, it is a present emergence, pushing up through the rubble of your disappointments like the first fierce green shoot after a forest fire, drawing its strength from the very ashes that once represented your end. This is your personal resurrection, and it is happening not in a distant tomorrow, but in the quiet of this Tuesday, in the middle of your unresolved mess, in the heart of your unanswered questions. You have prayed in the past. Maybe you've even given up on prayer, but I need you to hear the prayer that has been prayed over you by name in the sacred silence every single day of your life. It was a prayer for your eyes to be opened, for your heart to soften just enough to let the truth in, for your weariness to become a gateway, not a tomb. Your feeling of being lost was the answer to that prayer beginning to manifest, because you had to lose the old maps to discover you carry the compass inside your own spirit. Every time you felt abandoned, you were actually being weaned from dependencies that would have doomed your destiny. Every time a door slammed shut, it was because you were being redirected to a door that does not have a handle on your side, a door that will open only at the appointed time by a hand that is not yours, so that when you walk through, you will have no choice but to know, with bone-deep certainty, that it was divine. That moment of walking through is closer than your next breath. It is so close you could miss it if you blink, because it won't look like a parade. It will feel like a recognition, a deep, resonant yes in your spirit when you take a small, seemingly illogical step of faith that feels like putting your full weight on a phantom staircase in the dark. And here, in this crescendo of promise, where your heart is pounding with a hope you're afraid to name, I am going to ask you to do something that may feel out of place, but is in fact the most spiritual, connective act you can perform in this lineage of miracle. If this resonance, this feeling of being seen and spoken for, has found a home in your spirit, then you are already part of a sacred covenant of the hopeful, a chosen remnant who are awakening not just for themselves, but to become beacons for others still lost in the fog. You can seal this awakening. You can actively participate in this wave of divine revelation. By joining this community of seekers, subscribe, not as a passive viewer, but as a fellow traveler, planting your flag in the ground of belief. And then, in an act of prophetic generosity that will multiply your own breakthrough in ways you cannot fathom, share this message with exactly 11 people. Not 10, not 12, 11. Why? Because 10 is the number of law, but 11 is the number of grace beyond measure, of apostolic assignment, of divine interruption. You sharing this is not spreading a link. It is releasing a lifeline to someone drowning in the same silence you just escaped. It is a spiritual act of warfare against the isolation that has held you all captive. And for those whose hearts are stirred to transform this spiritual blessing into tangible provision for the most vulnerable, the coffee link in the description is a living altar, a completely optional, direct channel where 100% of a simple coffee's worth becomes food, becomes hope, becomes manna for a hungry child. This is how the divine economy works. Your open heart becomes someone else's open hand. So take a breath. The trembling in your hands, the warmth spreading in your chest, the sudden, clear thought of a person you need to forgive or a dream you need to pick back up that is not coincidence. That is the evidence. That is the confirmation you begged for in all those silent prayers. The season of hiddenness is concluding. The season of demonstration is dawning. You are not just reading words. You are receiving a transmission meant for your spirit alone. A frequency of hope that is now activating codes of destiny within you that have been dormant for generations. The chains of your bloodline are breaking at the links you hold in your hands. The windows of heaven are aligning over the very spot where you stand. You did not find this message. It was dispatched to find you, to arrive at this precise moment of your becoming, to tell you what your spirit already knows but your mind has been too afraid to accept. You are worthy. You are chosen. You are prepared. And you are now officially unstoppable. Walk into this new day not with a hesitant hope, but with the absolute certainty of one who has heard their name called in the dark and has recognized the voice. It is done. Amen.